So I started in the business in 1990, and that was the birth of the technology boom that we had. Remember the internet boom, and it was the new economy. And because of the firm that I started working at, I traded technology stocks because that's the people I had around me. That's what they taught you to do. So for a long time, I just traded stocks with clients and was fairly successful early, which is a good and bad thing because it was good because obviously I was able to provide for my family, but then it was bad because you learn a lot of bad habits and you think it's a lot easier. But all along that time, it was something that I didn't enjoy that much. It wasn't really that fulfilling with me. So what I started to do in 1998 was to redefine who I was. And that's when I started my certified financial planning curriculum to become a CFP and started to work towards becoming a more holistic advisor. And I started a firm in 2003 with two amazing partners where we focused on serving less people, but really walking life with them to help them figure out not just the investment side, but how to create a great life and a great retirement. And that's the problem with rigid retirement management or retirement planning is it reduces people's lives down to a math problem, a very one-dimensional solution of figuring out the math problem, because math is elegant, which is sort of nice, but the problem is life is not necessarily elegant. Life has fits and starts, and there are lots of dimensions beyond the math that really gets ignored by the rigid retirement planning that we see today. What ends up happening when everything is investment focused and financial focused is that we miss the reason that we're trying to accumulate wealth in the first place, which is to create not just a great life, but for many people, the people I serve, really to create a great retirement. In traditional retirement planning, that gets lost because it's all about focusing on the numbers. And I've been blessed to work with clients that understand the numbers and they want to be good stewards of their wealth, but they get that it's about what their wealth can do for them. So what happens is, for decades in our life, we're told to save and invest and sacrifice for a better tomorrow. And we're in that accumulation stage. And financial planning does really well in the accumulation stage of helping people save and invest. But right around the time people get into their 50s, they start to think about what the next phase of life is and how do we start getting our wealth to work for us to create a life where we have more time freedom so they can actually express themselves. Most people come to my office and they've already resigned themselves that retirement probably isn't going to be what they think it's going to be, and mainly because they're boxed into this math equation that traditional retirement planning puts them in. As an example, take a John and Betty that are sitting on the couch and they're 55 years old and they've saved and invested and raised their children for years and they've accumulated $1 million, which is pretty good. And they're sitting there and they start to think about, okay, what's the rest of our lives now that that phase of building a family is starting to wind down? So they go to an online calculator. They go to a popular online calculator and they say, okay, we're 55. And they start to answer the questions. And okay, when do you want to retire? So they'll enter, say, age 62. And they say, well, how much assets do you have right now? We have $1 million. And then they input what they're saving per year. And then it asks, well, what kind of lifestyle do you want in retirement? So they put in some number that they factored in terms of what they want their life to be. And then this online calculator will crunch the numbers. Hey, the math's not working, so you're going to have to work 4 more years to accumulate more assets to really make this work. Okay, that's not very attractive. They don't want to work 4 more years after age 62. You could start saving and investing a lot more right now so you can build up this massive nest egg. Well, that's hard because most of us are saving as much as we think we can. You're just going to have to settle for less later on in the kind of lifestyle that you can afford. So John and Betty are sitting there on the couch after spending decades following the best advice. And here they are at age 55 realizing that they still only have a lot of really bad choices.